thank you for convening.
Il en est ainsi décidé.
The United Nations is not in a position to verify these reports or the circumstances of the crash. What is clear is that the incident took place in the context of Russia's invasion of Ukraine and ongoing war. To avoid further escalation, we urge all concerned to refrain from actions, rhetoric, or allegations that could further fuel the already dangerous conflict. Mr. President, yesterday it was reported. In recent weeks, the scale and intensity of attacks against Ukraine have only grown, highlighting the dangerous trajectory of the war. Shelling and missile strikes on civilian areas continue to kill and maim civilians and cause massive destruction to critical infrastructure. The recent incident in the Belgorod region, with its claimed link to a planned prisoner exchange, reminds us of the plight of prisoners of war. We remain deeply concerned about their treatment. Since February 2022, the UN has interviewed over 280 Ukrainian POWs who returned from Russian captivity. Just in the past week, our colleagues in the Human Rights Monitoring Mission in Ukraine interviewed 31 prisoners of war who returned in early January. What we hear in these interviews is harrowing, and Ukraine has called for an international probe.
Все имеющиеся у нас сегодня данные указывают на то, что мы имеем дело с преднамеренным, продуманным преступлением. Руководство Украины прекрасно знало о маршруте и способе транспортировки солдат к месту заранее согласованного обмена. Он должен был состояться вчера, 24 января, во второй половине дня. Это уже не первая подобная операция, однако на сей раз киевский режим по каким-то необъяснимым любому здравомыслящему человеку причинам решил ее сорвать, причем самым варварским способом. Спасибо, господин председатель. Возможно, что-то нам всем пояснит сегодня представитель киевского режима. Важно понять, идет ли речь о несогласованности действий украинских вояк и чьей-то самостоятельной инициативе, или же о сознательном, продуманном преступлении, не укладывающемся ни в какую моральную систему координат.
Russia's rush to call for a council meeting fits a now familiar pattern right out of the Russian playbook with which we are all familiar. Russia has repeatedly attempted to shift responsibility for the tragedies of this senseless war of choice as though it is the victim and not the aggressor. While we work to gather the facts and ascertain what happened, it bears repeating that the Kremlin bears full and ultimate responsibility for starting and continuing this war.
Thank you, Mr. President. Let me remind you that according to the laws of warfare, military transport aircraft of the armed forces of the Russian Federation is a legitimate military target. Ukraine was not informed about the number of vehicles, routes, and means of transportation of the captives. This alone may constitute intentional actions by Russia to endanger the lives and safety of the prisoners. The landing of a transport aircraft in a 30-kilometer zone of combat operations poses a danger to the entire exchange process, and Russia, as the responsible for the safety of the POW's site, should take all necessary measures, including to inform of all transfer-related details in the war zone and its proximity, to comply with all relevant international provisions.